Jamming with History, a Sender Science fan fiction, written and read by Love Living My Dreams. A Real Prince. Roman was woken up by a pillow to his face. Get up, lazy. Remy texted me to make sure you weren't slacking off. You are coming with me on my run, so get off your bum, get dressed, and let's go, Virgil announced. Even in his half-asleep state, Roman could hear just how much fun he was having with this. You are way too cheerful for it to be this early, he complained after he glanced at the clock. Tomorrow we'll have to be up and out and about earlier if we want to catch the sunrise shoot, so tough luck. We have a busy day at Halloween today, superstar, so let's get going, Virgil insisted, dragging Roman to his feet. I'm coming, Roman promised as he rubbed his eyes. Virgil handed him his workout clothes and pushed him into the bedroom. He was really stoked for this run. Come on, Princey, if you do a good job, I'll let you pick out some Mickey ears for me, Virgil promised when Roman emerged from the bedroom. That got Roman's attention. Virgil had turned down the ears yesterday. I'll hold you to that, Roman warned as he put on his shoes. Virgil just chuckled and nodded towards the door, indicating they should get going where they were going. Roman did a good job, just to be clear, but Virgil might be even more ruthless than Remy. I hate you, Roman gasped as they finally sat down for breakfast. Roman still heaving, but Virgil comparatively unbothered by the exertion. Say that again after breakfast in the shower, Virgil smirked. Roman huffed but dropped the subject in favor of ordering food. Well, I think you just replenished whatever you managed to run off, Virgil teased as they headed back for a shower before they got their day started. Sush, we're on vacation, and we'll be walking around all day. I'm not worried about a few calories, Roman pointed out. Virgil nodded in agreement and held the door to their bungalow for him as a peace offering. He was so lucky he was cute. Well, Virgil asked when Roman got back from his shower. I hate you a little less, but you are still getting the prettiest ears in all the land. Once more they did some schoolwork on the bus ride, quickly putting the papers away when they got to the stop. They didn't have to be anywhere until dinner with Roman's parents, and they were both certain that they'd manage to entertain themselves just fine. They caught the Indiana Jones stunt show. Roman got to be a pilot, and Virgil landed the gunner's seat on the smuggler ride. Virgil dragged a playfully reluctant Roman into the frozen sing-along, where they both had a blast. They screamed their heads off in the Tower of Terror, and when the evening came, they opted to get a quick go on the Toy Story through the ride. If there is time after the shoot, I want to catch the Slinky ride real quick before the Fantasmic show. The view of the park is awesome, Roman informed Virgil as they headed to Mama Melrose's for dinner. Sounds good. After that, we should head back though. I want to get a little more work done before bed, Virgil said. Roman nodded and held the door open, almost immediately spotting his parents who greeted them warmly. Sorry for kidnapping your son every day, Virgil offered, sounding playful, but Roman got the feeling there was some genuine guilt there. Virgil, do you know what we do all day while on this vacation? Roman's dad smiled as they all took a seat. Make sure the shoot is ready? Virgil asked. Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez chuckled. Yes, but also conference calls, preparing for pitch meetings, calling with our accountant. The meals we have with you two are the only points in our day that we are not fully booked. If you weren't here, Roman might be with us a little more throughout the day, but he'd be mostly left to entertain himself, Roman's mom said, a little regretfully. The downside of a successful business, Lucas nodded as he took his wife's hand. I don't mind, Roman promised. We know, darling, but we do. We're working on being more available for you in the future. But the reality is that us growing more apart the last few years is not just because you became more self-reliant. We have been relying on that too much and forgot to make enough time for you. And soon you'll be off to college and Angelica's voice faltered us, and she looked down to her plate. I think you two did a great job. Roman is the coolest guy I know, and he thinks the world of you two. And I can see why, Virgil offered. Roman's parents smiled up at Virgil gratefully before casting a proud look to their son. Hello there, can I take your order? The waitress wondered as she stopped at their table. And so the heavy subject was dropped, and they focused on a nice dinner and excited recounts of all the fun they'd had. When they left the restaurant, they were led to the shoot at Hollywood Boulevard. Today's outfits were more casual chic, perfect for a fun night out or a party with friends. Woman's favorite outfit of the bunch was a royal purple blouse with a low cut, laying Virgil's collarbones bare and reaching just a bit lower on the sternum. It was half tucked into a beige pair of pants, a vibrant multicolored scarf posing as a belt. Virgil looked hot, and he knew it. Roman barely held back a very undignified sound when Virgil ran his hand through his hair and half looked up at him for one of the pictures. That man was playing dirty and he knew it. Roman was still determined to have the last laugh in this dance of theirs, though. Virgil wouldn't know what hit him. They did manage to catch a ride at the show. It was a great end to their day, though it left them both pretty tired. Still, Virgil insisted on trying to get through one more page of their assigned schoolwork before crashing into their beds. The next morning they had to get up before the sun rose. They skipped breakfast and, because the monorail wasn't going to leave for another 2 hours, there was a limo awaiting them in front of the entrance to their resort. Morning, Mrs. and Mr. Fernandez, Virgil greeted, unfairly more awake than Roman was. The thespian just waved at his parents and the other people gathered in the limousine. It was all he could manage, really. You could have stayed in bed and joined us when the park door opened, Virgil pointed out. Oh, no, I'm fine, Roman muttered. Virgil shook his head. Don't say I didn't warn you when you fall asleep over your breakfast, he warned. Roman huffed. Virgil had a point, though. He couldn't really afford to not be well rested today of all days. So after pouting a bit more about it while Virgil talked with the photographer and the other models that were riding with them, he reluctantly accepted his parents' offer for him to spend this shoot napping in an available foldable lounge chair. He was a touch disappointed because today's shoot was formal wear on Main Street, and sure he'd see the pictures later, but he'd enjoyed watching Virgil pose in handsome outfits, and he joked about it before, but Virgil looked so good in a suit. He comforted himself with the idea that he would still get to see his charming knight in a suit today, one way or the other. Virgil just didn't know it yet. He must have been more tired than he wanted to admit, because he didn't even keep his eyes open long enough for Virgil to get changed. Roman simply laid down, and next thing he knew, his mother gently urged him awake for breakfast. The park wouldn't officially open for another hour, and so the food stands and restaurants weren't selling it. But his parents had brought back lunches to share with him and Virgil while the other models and staff returned to their resort to have breakfast and enjoy the day however they wanted. It was so domestic and normal. Roman kind of loved it. Virgil teased him a bit with his bedhead, and Roman teased him with his model makeup. Once their sandwiches and capricins were consumed, Roman hugged his parents goodbye, and he and Virgil started heading to their first stop of the day. Town Hall for their sorceress apprentice cars, just for some extra magic in their day. Come on, if we hurry we can pop in and out of the Emporium to get your ears before the crowd gets going, Roman insisted, already making the needed lightning lane reservations on his phone. Wouldn't you rather beat the line for a ride? Virgil tried. Not a chance. You won't be earless for another second. Roman announced. He very quickly decided on the pair of ears that were perfect. A lovely lavender set with an elegant white crown. You look so pretty, Roman cooed as he put the newly purchased ears on Virgil's head. Virgil rolled his eyes, but didn't make a move to take them off. All right, let's go on some rides before we hit the shops again, Roman allowed. They had loads of fun, giggling during the jungle cruise, making like a pirate on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. They screamed until their voices went sore during the trail rides, and they couldn't stop laughing at each other's wet clothes after they came from Splash Mountain. They vibed during the shows and gushed over the cute pins and plushies. Roman even conceded and got a golden pair of ears for himself so they both looked like proper tourists. They thoroughly enjoyed various foods and had a blast running into characters. Virgil even had some great fun getting into a sassing match with his evil stepsisters, dragging Roman into it by mentioning that he was filthy rich, making the sister pretend to try and catch his interest. You ladies are quite lovely, truly, but if I were made to choose, Roman explained, a little flustered at being put on the spot like that. He saw Virgil smirking and decided that he deserved some payback. Out of nowhere, he grabbed the athlete's hand and pulled him in close. Then I'll take this lovely star, he muttered lowly, delighting in the way Virgil lost his wits for a few moments before returning to the sisters. Sorry, Lace. Better luck next time, he offered as he led Roman away. The evening was growing late, and Virgil was eyeing the darkening sky nervously. You are looking forward to the show, huh? Roman grinned. Do you think we can get there after? Virgil wondered. I sort of already have reservations, Roman admitted as he led Virgil towards the castle. One more stop before we go there, though, he grinned, very proud of his next surprise. Not at the castle, right? Virgil wondered as they approached the most iconic structure in all of Disney World. No, but we have to make a quick stop there before we head to the restaurant. Roman smiled as he led Virgil inside, reached into his tote bag and handed the golden envelope he'd stashed away with his schoolwork to the cast member, who stood at the door. They looked at the contents and then smiled up at them with a nod. One quick announcement over their earpiece later, a fairy godmother apprentice came out to lead them to the famed Bibbidi-Bobbidi Boutique. Woman, what's going on? Virgil asked, not trusting the situation. Don't worry, only exception, Roman smirked. We just need a quick refresher after that dive from the mountain, he shrugged, before bowing for his companion and allowing the both of them to be taken into separate rooms, where he happily found that indeed all the things he'd asked his parents to prepare were ready and waiting for them. He chatted happily with the apprentices who were taking care of his hair and outfit, and then he was led to meet up with Virgil again. For the record, he looked good. A white shirt, black dress pants, and a red waistcoat with gold embroidered waves on the leather, too, making for an excellent Prince Eric Disney bound. But the plan had always been for Virgil to be the one to steal the show, and by the gods he did. Roman didn't even mind that his mouth was open in awe when he took him in his dinner companion. A purple sleeveless shirt with fringes on the hemline held a pattern of silver seashells and bubbles. It was paired with a very dark green pair of pants that were skin-tight from the waist to halfway the calf, where they fell open into a pleat, giving the impression of fins. A magnificent Ariel cosplay, made even better with the pearl studs in his ears and a choker with a silver shell pen that's also embedded in it. Virgil looked up at him a little nervously. You look great, Roman told him, though he had a million words he'd much rather use right now. Virgil allowed a small smile as he played with one of the studs. It feels like too much, he admitted. The jewelry is on loan, and my mom loves breaking out her sewing machine. She started out by making all her designs by herself by hand. Woman assured him, hoping to suit him with the knowledge that despite the silky material being maybe a little expensive, the production cost had been low. Instead, Virgil looked up at him incredulously. You mean I'm wearing a one-of-a-kind design, handmade by Angelica Fernandez herself?" he asked. Woman was about to stupidly ask what the deal was, but then it clicked. "If it makes you feel better, we can auction it off later for charity," he offered. Virgil looked at him for a long moment and then burst out laughing. "I'm sorry, it still has to hit sometimes at you. Never mind. I'm sorry for freaking out on you. It's amazing, woman. Really, I love it," Virgil assured him as he got a hold of himself. Woman decided to just accept that Virgil had needed a bit longer to process the present and simply offered him his arm with a smile, which Virgil happily took. "I can't believe your parents put this together," Virgil mused as he touched the hem of his shirt thoughtfully. "Maybe we should let them in on the joke before they design me a wedding attire," he told Roman. Roman chuckled. "Let me worry about them, V. It'll be fine," he promised, as he led Virgil down the street towards the final stop of their day. "Hey, excuse me!" They both looked up and found two teenagers around their age approaching them. One bold and determined, the other frantically trying to discourage the former from their quest. "Are you woman Fernandez?" the bold one wondered. Woman nodded. "Yes," he allowed. The bold girl turned to her friend. "See, I told you. Now ask him," she said insistently. The mortified-looking girl let out a long-suffering sigh. "You'll ask him in my stead if I don't, won't you?" she complained. "You know me too well," Bolt smiled. Shy looked at the two of them. "I really loved your song, and I think you posts are funny, and is it okay if we take a picture?" she asked nervously. Woman was a bit taken aback and looked to Virgil for a confirmation. Virgil laughed. "Come on, woman, I'll hold the camera," he offered. At a loss what else to do, Woman gestured for the girls to stand with him and take a picture in front of the Disney statue. "There you go, the first official fan of Woman Fernandez," Virgil stated as he handed the girls their phone back. "Thanks, have a great evening," Bolt offered. "I'm rooting for you too," Chai added, still beet red. Woman and Virgil waved them off and started walking again. "You are getting famous," Virgil sing-songed. Woman nodded thoughtfully. "Well, then I guess I should treat my beloved fans," he grinned as he let go of Virgil and aimed his phone at him. "Virgil, I have an important question for you," he said dramatically. Virgil burst out laughing. "What?" he asked. "Do you feel bonita?" Woman exclaimed. Virgil snorted. "You're a dork," he accused. "You didn't answer the question," Woman pointed out. Virgil bit his lip and played with his stud again. "Yeah, I guess I feel bonita," he allowed. "Good, because you look bonita," Roman declared happily. Virgil just nodded and walked over to put his hand to the camera, to which Roman ended the video, giggling to himself as he posted. "Look at you, so pleased with yourself," Virgil teased. But when Roman looked up, his expression was just a touch too soft to really fit his tone. Their friends better be ready to help him pull off the whole proposal on Monday, or he'd just kiss Virgil and let the whole thing go to waste. "I am," he confirmed smugly, as he put his phone away and led Virgil to their destination, the Crystal Palace. "Reservation for Fernandez Sanders," Woman told the hostess, who nodded and led them to the window table with a lovely view of the Cinderella castle. Are we going to be having dinner with a view on the show?" Virgil asked incredulously. "Yes, I hope that's all right with you," Roman offered. Virgil chuckled. More than alright. Let's get ourselves some loaded plates. The show should start in 20 minutes, and I want to be sitting down for a long while when it does. Virgil grinned. They'd seen the show from a distance mostly the past few days. This would be their first closer look, but not their last. Virgil didn't know that yet, though. They both ordered their drinks, got plenty food, and settled in. Virgil glanced up every 2 seconds for a bit before Roman put a calming hand over Virgil's fidgeting fingers. You aren't going to miss a second. It's going to be pretty obvious when the show starts, he promised. Virgil smiled at him with a blush. Yeah, I know, this is just pretty much the same as what you did for my birthday, if you think about it. Wondrous outfit, lovely dinner, nice lighting, he listed. He saw Virgil look at him skeptically. I'm just on a bigger budget, and I didn't spend that much of my own allowance anyway. Feeding you and dressing you is on my parents' dime. All I did was share in my souvenir money this trip, and that's quite a budget. I rarely spend it all, he shrugged. I guess you have a point, Virgil allowed. And then the music announcing the start of the show started, and Virgil's attention was completely diverted. Roman couldn't help but glance back at Virgil's face throughout the show. Virgil barely remembered to eat. It was endearing. And with this dinner a success, all was set for Monday on his end. Virgil was very bubbly on the ferry ride back to the resort. Too excited to go right back to sleep, he decided to do an evening run. Just a quick lap past the shore. Roman made the mistake of joining him. How did that man have this much energy after walking around all day? The good news was that he didn't remember the last time he slept as well, especially since Virgil only allowed Roman to sleep in a little later than he had on Tuesday, before he dragged him on their scheduled training. There was no shoot today, just dinner with Roman's parents at the Floridian. Virgil asked about 20 times if Roman didn't want to stop by the Floridian to see if his parents could make it to hang out with them. Roman declined and instead dragged Virgil onto the railway to Epcot. Virgil wanted to be an astronaut first and foremost, which was a lot of fun. They went on a hang glider ride and sang along to Beauty and the Beast, of course. Roman had to practice, though he did tell Virgil that he was planning on coming back with him to show him the wonders of France as well, so he could trick him into coming on an overseas trip with him. Virgil thought he was joking. They had a blast at the aquarium and at the turtle talk. They argued about designing a car for their high-speed ride of the day, and they took in the sights at the educational rides they decided to take. Can we come back tomorrow for the show, though? I heard it's closing soon, so it might be our last chance, Virgil wondered. Sure, we can figure out what we want to do on the way to breakfast with my parents. We don't have to go to a park, by the way. We can just stay in and enjoy the resort or recharge after the shoot. I'm amazed that you went this long without going for a proper swim, Roman joked as they headed to the monorail to get to the Floridian. Virgil just rolled his eyes and followed him to a seat. His parents waited on them at the stop and happily listened to Virgil recount the dinner and thanked them for the amazing outfit and promised that if it was still perfectly clean and all the accessories were put away safely and they could totally come by and pick them up if they wanted. Roman exchanged a look with them and that gave him the impression that they were all thinking the same. This one is a keeper. The food was excellent as always, but Roman couldn't pay too much attention because he was just too excited for what came next. Well, we should get going or we'll miss it, his father announced. Roman nearly jumped out of his seat as he heard that and pulled Virgil along towards the ferry. Why are we taking the ferry? Virgil asked, trying to catch up with what was going on. Well, we aren't going to spend a week at a park and not partake in the glorious treat that is the after hours event, Roman announced as they showed their tickets and got on. Wait, seriously? I heard about it, but oh wow, Virgil stammered. We should get a good spot to view the fireworks from today, Roman added with a wink. Virgil just gave him a playful shove. While they watched the castle get closer, Roman thought back to the updates they'd seen in the gossip group chat that morning. Roman had intentionally turned off notifications for his Instagram, and now he was a little scared to check. According to his friends, his followers had exploded, and they had a skilled stalker at the park since they hadn't really spotted any vultures, but there were pictures of pretty much everything they'd done together, including last night's dinner, in the magazines, and the ship was very alive at school. Going back was going to be interesting for sure. But all of that was a concern for Monday Roman. Today Roman was going to have fun. And so he did. It was really cool to walk around with the lights and the lesser crowds and to do it all with his parents with him. Yes, the successful fashion icons knew how to have fun and could handle going on rides with their son, thank you very much. They enjoyed the food and drinks available, and when it was time for the fireworks, they settled at the end of Main Street for a good view of the castle, while also being able to see some of the projections on Main Street. Virgil was beside himself. So much for cool and aloof. Women loved to see this side of him, though. It felt special. Did his friends know about this giddy boy who was full of love and life? The day inevitably came to an end, though. They bid Roman's parents goodbye and headed to their cabin. This this was great, Virgil sighed happily as they both dropped into their beds. Last shoot tomorrow after breakfast with my parents at Epcot, and then we are home free for 2 days. Typhoon Lagoon is taken care of. My parents want to spend the day with us there. So with that said, any preferences for tomorrow? Roman asked. Virgil hummed contemplatively. Well, I actually would like just relaxing here and catching the show at Epcot in the evening if you are sure you don't mind, Virgil admitted. I am so relieved to hear you say that, Roman said dramatically, making Virgil chuckle. Though we should finish what's left of our schoolwork too, the skater boy added. Nerd, Roman huffed accusingly. How the turntables, Virgil shot back, making Roman laugh. Indeed, he agreed, before getting up and going to the bathroom to change into his PJs. Hey, Roman, Virgil said as they got into bed. Yeah, Roman said as he fluffed his pillow. Thanks, Virgil said sincerely. Roman looked at his roommate and smiled. Anytime, he promised. And with that, they ceased talking and went to sleep. The Epcot shoot was street clothes themed and moved all over the showcase. It was easily the most ambitious shoot, that's for sure. In the end, Roman was very glad that they had decided to just relax today. After all the running around they'd done on this vacation, he almost looked forward to sitting in class all day again. Almost. They managed to make it back in time for the show, and it really was nice that they got to see it before it got replaced by a new, no doubt, breathtaking spectacle. And so, with their work done, all the souvenirs gathered, their swimsuits on, and Virgil reluctantly allowing for a break in their training schedule, assuring Roman that he will drag his ass on a run in the evening, they headed to Blizzard Beach. Roman convinced Virgil to keep the swimsuit summit plummet for last and instead start with the teamboat spring so they could share a raft. He appealed to Virgil's competitiveness by insisting they try to get their personal best times on the racing slides on the racing tracks. Then he pulled him along to the run of rapids to each try each of the three slides at least twice to determine which one they liked best, and then do each other's favorites and their own again to pick an all-over winner. I suppose now you want to go to Meltaway Bay, huh? Virgil guessed. It's time for something to eat anyway, right? Roman tried. Roman, if you don't want to go off the summit rides, then you can just say so. We can pick a spot on the beach and I'll find you there once I've tried it, Virgil promised. No, no, The woman sighed and blushed. I've always wanted to try, but Virgil bumped his shoulder. Let's eat first. We should wait a bit after that before hitting the water again anyway. And it's been a while since I swam. I'll have to see if I still got it. And those waves do look great. We can get on the ski lift later, Virgil promised. Or we can hike, whatever you want, he added hurriedly. Roman chuckled and nodded. God, he really hoped he'd been reading things right and that Virgil would agree to date him. After a delicious but not very nutritious meal and dessert, some time spent catching some well-earned vitamin D and splashing around in the pool mixed with watching Virgil try to wrestle a wave and win somehow, Roman felt ready. This was going to be the day where he'd take the summit plummet, which would drop him in a free fall, and nope, not thinking about it. I think I want to warm up with the slush gusher. What do you think? Virgil suggested. Roman nodded. They were now taking the ski lift up to the top of the mountain. He wasn't stalling now, but the gusher was a little less intense, and he felt more equipped to do that one. And after we can share a raft at the tea ring again. Sounds fun? Virgil suggested. Woman smiled to himself and nodded again. They were there. The gusher was fast, and Woman had survived. He'd found it fun even, but the summit would be twice as fast. No, no, he was going to do it. Virgil went first. Woman counted the seconds until he was allowed to line up for the slide. That was not long at all. Roman nodded to himself and took a step. Just like so many things in life, he had to set aside his worries. Take a leap. Roman screamed. He screamed and he dug his nails in his palms and he laughed and he hit the water with a massive splash. That was great, he screamed as soon as he found Virgil, who threw him an arm around him. Proud of you, dude, he said warmly, and Roman was proud of himself too. They didn't leave the park until closing time. It really was a blast. And the butterflies in Roman's stomach when he took the summit paled in comparison to what he felt when he realized that in 48 hours, Virgil Sanders might officially be his date to prom. He quite liked that thought. For the record, Virgil did forget about the run, and Roman wasn't going to remind him. Hitting Typhoon Lagoon with his parents the next day was special. It always was when they had family day out. Virgil liked seeing this side of the Fernandez family. He made that clear in his actions as well as outright saying so when he and Roman's father returned from their game of running straight into the big waves. His mother insisted on taking a tour on Castaway Creek to wind down next, and it was a great way for them to enjoy the water and catch it up a bit again. Roman proudly informed them that he finally worked up the courage to go down the summit, something they knew he'd been upset with himself over not doing sooner. His parents weren't too eager to do the single-person slides, so Virgil and Roman hiked the trails and hit every one-person slide there was before finding the adults for some lunch. After that, though, they took them to try out the new Misadventure Falls raft ride, which was a bit wilder than Castaway Creek, but lots of fun. They all laughed until their cheeks were sore. When Virgil managed to make a case for them to ride the Crush and Gusher as each of the slides provided a two-person raft, and so they decided to follow Roman and Virgil's method with quality control of yesterday and take each slide twice. Select their favorites, ride those again, and then select the best slide before riding that one again. Roman's parents shared the raft in this experiment, which meant he got a pretty much cuddle with Virgil as they made their way down the slide. It was a lot like riding Paranoia, but less layered between them. His gay panic quickly had to make way for the thrill of the rides, though. As the evening approached, his parents made the dreaded announcement. It's time to leave, boys. Your things have been picked up and put on the plane. Yes, including your souvenirs. All labeled and separated. We are having dinner on the plane, if that's all right with you two, Wilma's mother announced. That sounds pretty cool, honestly, Virgil nodded, and so Roman agreed as well. When they were in the air, they cast a last look at the lights of the Magic Kingdom. It already feels unreal, Virgil mused. Wait until you see your picture on all the fashion magazine covers. It'll feel real then, Roman teased. Virgil rolled his eyes and got started on dinner. Roman just smirked. Tomorrow was the big day. It had been agreed that Roman could drop Virgil off this time around, so Virgil stayed at Roman's place for the night. While Virgil was in the bathroom, Roman texted their friends. Is everything good? He asked. He got a thumbs up in reply and grinned. Perfect. Virgil closed his locker, relieved it was lunchtime. Seriously, what was everyone's deal? Nosy, presumptuous, and who cared whether he and Roman were a thing? Okay, he did, but that was allowed. He and Roman were allowed to care about that, and everyone else should just mind their own damn business. The little getaway with Roman had been amazing and torture. On one hand, it showed how vastly different their worlds were, and on the other, it made him fall even more for him. Once Virgil realized that Roman was princey, he knew he was in trouble, of course. He told Roman that his family shipped him and Princey for the longest time. But what he hadn't mentioned was that Princey was his first real crush, one that he never fully got over. Romantic feelings were tricky for him, and when it came to Princey, he hadn't even known that he was demi-romantic yet. So it had been a bit of a roller coaster for him to figure out how his feelings could have changed so much, while nothing in the relationship or interactions had seemingly changed. Fact was, though, he'd fallen for his kind online friend who could listen without asking questions and cheering up with a quick joke or a cute illustration, who didn't need to know why he was down, who didn't need to be told that he was feeling bad. He just wanted to make him feel better. And now that faceless boy, somewhere out there in the world, had a handsome face. And Virgil had to be stupid and make him even hotter. Not that there had been anything wrong with how Roman looked at the start of the semester, but his spike in confidence was. It didn't hurt. Virgil groaned and banged his head against his locker door. He'd wanted to take his hands so bad, so often this past week, but he told Roman the significance of that and he wanted him to take his shot with Julian. But if that didn't happen, well, he had ideas to ask Roman out. Whether he asked Julian and get rejected or decided against asking him altogether, in either of those cases, Virgil would tell Roman. He'd tell him how he felt and ask him to prom, and it would be big and dramatic and everything Roman would adore. God, what if he said no? Thinking of your boyfriend? Virgil scowled at Vinny, who was leaning against the locker next to him. Before he could answer, there was a notification on his phone, which was promptly snatched from his hand by Clara. The fuck? How do we know you love him? She sang softly. Double TF? How do we know he's yours? Vinny said playfully. Very funny, girls. Can I have my phone back? Virgil demanded, reaching, but they dodged out of the way, walking ahead, forcing Virgil to follow as they continued the song, swaying to non-existent tunes. Mixing his friends with theater kids was clearly a mistake. Look at what happens. He's gone 1 week and they are breaking out in song. How could you know that he really, really, truly loves you? Vinny and Clara chorused as they started walking backwards. Delilah and Xander joined them. It's not enough to take the one you love for granted, Delilah sang. This looked rehearsed. Why? Were they this determined to torture him? It would be funny if he wasn't so miserable right now. He will remind you so you won't be inclined to say. And now the four of them were harmonizing the bridge. Damn. Well, does he leave you little notes to tell you you are on his mind? Clara asked as he tossed Virgil his phone. The note was from a text from Roman. Lunch, please? It read, and Virgil couldn't help but smile. Okay, yes, cute, but send you yellow flowers when the sky is gray. Amber added, coming up from nowhere and shoving a magazine under his nose with a picture of Roman giving Virgil that bouquet of yellow flowers after he left the racetrack on that fair they went to. Okay, that was coincidence, right? His friends and Romans surrounded him singing, or saying in some cases the next chorus to him, and he tried not to read anything into the situation because there was no way, right? Because he'll wear your favorite color just so he can match your eyes, Billy said as he showed Virgil a magazine showcasing them walking together at the fair, dressed in each other's favorite color. Plan a pirate picnic by the fire's glow. Whoa, whoa, Tristan added, showing one of the diner they had at the Crystal Palace. They were lit by the glow of the fireworks, and Virgil was looking at the show. But Roman was looking at Virgil as if he was the most beautiful thing around at the time. Oh boy. Anyway, wasn't that the wrong order? Oh, oh, wait. And just then their friends led him to the picnic tables outside where Roman was waiting with a bouquet of pink and purple flowers. Does he take you out dancing just so he can hold you close? Jane asked as she pushed Virgil into Roman's arms, who caught him with a chuckle. Hi, wanna go to prom with me? He asked a little sheepishly. And damn if he doesn't want to kiss that smile so bad right now. Sing a little song that was made just for you. And there was only one thing Virgil could say. You can count me in. He nodded as he sang the line as best as he could through his own giddiness. Roman's grin in that moment could accomplish world peace. Virgil was sure. But right now he was busy spinning Virgil around in elation as their friends cheered. And Virgil didn't care. He didn't care about the teasing, any torturesers, and the winks and nudges and the people who would have something to say on the matter. Roman was taking him to prom, and his big plan would have to change a little bit. But for now, he could just look into the eyes of the boy he adored and not worry about him noticing. And that was more than enough. Okay, so finally, the slow burn has burned. There should be two more updates coming up. One for that takes place in the present and one time skip. So if you're interested to see how that turns out, tune in next time and I'll see you then. Bye.